Hello, I am Sarah from Homespun Childhood, and today we are going to talk about IEW, all things fun and fascinating. I am a former teacher turned homeschool mom of 3, and at Homespun Childhood I share all things literacy, curriculum, homeschool, and more. So let's jump in. So let's start with the book itself, All Things Fun and Fascinating. This is one of IEW's theme-based writing programs. So you're learning their structure and style through a theme, and they provide passages for you that are related to that theme. Depending on the theme, some of them are appropriate for younger students, first grade through third grade. Some are for older students. It really depends on your child's reading ability and their writing experience. All Things Fun and Fascinating is appropriate, I would say, for second to fourth grade, depending on the ability of your student. So this is the student book. It does include some downloads, and we go into their scope and sequence here. It's broken into different sections based off of the skills. And so we're going to start with keyword outlines and oral reports. Then we're going to start writing from outlines. Then we're going to work on narrative stories from around the world, special holidays. We move into summarizing references using animals themes, writing from pictures, multiple sources for research. So again, these units over here are referring to the structure and style units. So if you are taking their parent course teaching structure and style, these are related to that. You do not have to take that course in order to teach this program though. Multiple sources, research, and creative writing, and then final review. They then have a scope and sequence where they talk about their lesson, how many lessons there are based off of the particular unit and the subjects within there. And so their units are again broken up into their units related to their teaching structure and style. Introduction, we go into introduction, like what this is. Let's bounce over to the teacher supplement for a minute. Okay, so in here, again, we have information about how to use this program. We have scheduling for the year, tips for teaching, and answers to review questions, review games, vocabulary, puzzles and quizzes, reward tickets, etc. It talks about scheduling for the year. So if you're doing this in a daily class, how you would pace this throughout the week. So day 1, you would outline together. Day 2, you would tell back from your outline and brainstorm elements of style and begin your rough draft. Day 3, you would review and finish your rough draft. Day 4 and 5, you would write your final draft. So we're moving through the editing process. In a weekly classroom, it's a little bit different. Maybe you're using this in a co-op program. So over here, we have our weeks broken down. Week 1, we're going to do floating rocks and more. Week 2, we're going to do giant leap. Week 3, on and so forth. Then each lesson in the student book has corresponding information in this teacher supplement. So lesson 1, it's kind of setting you up. We have some different suggested keywords, talking about when the outlines are finished, calling back on students. Lessons 1 and 2 may be combined, allowing students to choose 4 of the 6 texts. We have reviewing lesson 2. We have lesson 3, belling the cat, going through the rough draft. We have some sheets for proofreading marks. Okay, so we have lots of kind of notes for the teacher. There also is a vocabulary section where it's about working on the vocabulary words within the passages. We know vocabulary is best taught in context, so doing programs that are not from your reading or your writing or your content areas, something like Wordly Wise, for example. If it's not in the context of something else, if it's just, here are your vocabulary words, now go and practice them, that's not going to stick. It needs to be within the context. So you can include it this way if you want. And so we have different words from each lesson that you can use for vocabulary. So the words are here, and then they have little activities and quizzes that you can assign, and a lot of them are grouped together. So this is words from lessons 2 through 7, 2 through 7 more, okay, lessons 8. So it really just depends on the lesson. Okay. There's more information on parent scheduling in here. So if you're doing a year at a glance, week 1, homework type stuff. So if you're doing this as a co-op, this is going to be a helpful list. IEW parents to-do list, suggestions for helping young students, English composition. Okay, so that is the guide. Let's continue looking at the student book itself. Now, you could have your student write directly in this. You can also use this, make copies as needed for your children, or have them do the answers in a notebook. So the first lesson we have here is floating rocks. We have the goal to practice keyword outlining. Keyword outlining will help your students gather information to write about it and will help you organize information in your composition. So tips for the assignment here. You have a teacher note about using abbreviations. Then we have the passage, and we have our outline for us and some examples for abbreviations. Then we have another passage and the same thing. So at first we're just working on that keyword outline, and it's worth noting that these passages are likely going to be not super interesting, right, to our students. Our students are probably reading a little bit above this level, and are able to tell us more or narrate back a whole bunch of this. The point of this is starting to get them that explicit instruction of how to tell back information in a concise way, how to remember it and then summarize it. And so the keywords are a scaffold in that process. Over time, using this approach from IEW, you pull back from the scaffolding and using the keywords because you've done it so many times that you're able to quickly kind of approach this in your own way and start to add in style. But before we add in voice and style, we're really working on literally the process of writing and what this is. If you have a student who is ready to start working on this content-wise, but maybe their handwriting skills are not there, you can partner with them. Maybe they're telling you what to write down and you write it down. Maybe you're doing some shared writing where you're going to do one, they're going to do one. Maybe you're going to read a sentence, they're going to tell you the keywords and you'll write them, then you read a sentence and they tell you the keywords. So finding ways to meet them where they are and scaffold where appropriate. You do not have to, and I don't think you should, jump in and have them do the whole thing right away. You should start with some modeling and following that gradual release model. I do, we do, you do. So you're going to model how to do this. You're going to work on it together. You're going to have them do it. And maybe that means for the first couple of weeks, you're in that guided practice stage. And then they move towards every now and then doing it independent, and then, a year in, they're doing it independently. So we have some helpful abbreviations here. You can see in this one, we went through and marked our keywords with a highlighter and then underlined or boxed in an interesting phrase. Okay, so you can, teach them how to mark up text, and they can do this on the text before they come and write it in. As we get farther into the program, okay, they're going to start learning how to summarize references. So lesson 10, busy beavers. The goal is to outline using keywords from facts rather than from each sentence. And so now instead of doing keywords from each sentence, we're thinking about big fact-wise stuff. And so learning how to summarize information is a really important skill. How do we get there? How do we get a kid from reading something to synthesizing it and sharing it back in their own words? We start with baby steps, and summarizing facts is a baby step. We teach this explicitly and systematically, and we build up skills over time. We talk about topic sentences here and what a topic sentence looks like and sounds like. We talk about grammar within here. The topic clincher rule. The clincher of a paragraph must repeat or reflect 2 to 3 keywords from the topic sentence. These words should tell the topic of the paragraph. This may sound formulaic, and the complaints I hear most about IEW is that it's too formulaic. Why are we teaching kids, the 5-paragraph essay and, there's topic sentence and supporting details and all that? Why not just let them express themselves and share? We should let them express themselves and share their own stories and narrate and write their own things. And we should teach them explicit systematic writing instruction. A lot of times kids are fine with sharing the information they want to share, but then when they're given an assignment, which is real life, whether or not they homeschool throughout their entire education career and then go to college, or homeschool and then go into a job, or homeschool and then go to a classroom, you're going to have to be able to communicate information that isn't necessarily of your choosing. And so this is a way to teach us and teach them how to build up those skills. And in the process, they'll learn about how to share information that they're passionate about with others in a convincing way. Okay, brainstorming dress-ups. So they have all these little nicknames for types of things that they're going to be adding during their rough draft and their, they'll be adding to their rough draft and revising as they go. So their style elements are taught systematically, and then over time they start to develop naturally. Like the training wheels for learning how to ride a bike, right? And so here is a checklist for Busy Beaver. The structure, the paragraph has a topic sentence, keywords are highlighted, 3 points. You know, you don't have to do the points, obviously. Paragraph ends with a clincher, okay, check. Title reflects words in the clincher, check. Did I do strong verbs, ly word, quality adjectives? So they're being taught each of these individual things, and then as they are taught them, they are added to the checklist. So in the beginning, you know, you might only have the structure part, and then you add one style component, strong verbs, and you do that for a little bit, and then you're going to teach and add in the next one, and so forth. When we get towards the end here, we are working on multiple resources. The goal is to combine 3 paragraphs about men who changed the world into a 3-paragraph report. So now we're taking multiple sources, we are analyzing them, we're summarizing them, and then we're combining that into a report. Okay, final clincher, assignments, creative writing, my favorite things, to learn to ask questions about, to help you write from your own ideas, notes from your brain. In the final lessons of the book, you will be given prompts that tell you what to write about, but you will not be given sources, text, or pictures. Where will you get the ideas to write? From your brain, by asking yourself questions. So then it's going to guide us through some creative writing. So I really like this program for somebody who is looking for something that follows the research-based practice of being systematic and explicit in writing curriculum and instruction. There are lots of other programs out there that teach us the systematic goals. Some of the ones out there are the Writing Revolution, Step Into Writing, Write by Number. Those are all programs that will also teach systematic and explicit instruction. Those don't necessarily include your content. So if you are someone who's like, okay, I know I need to be incorporating writing into the content areas, it should be tied in and whatever, but I don't have the time or the energy or the skill set to do that. That's where the IEW thematic programs can be really awesome, because they are related to a theme or your content. So it's providing you the content and the instruction. So you can do thematic programs all throughout. You could do thematic programs for a few years and then jump into their structure and style for students, and then jump back to thematic. You know, you can mix it up. You don't have to go in a particular order. I will say pay attention to the suggested grade levels for these curricula. So if you have questions about IEW, definitely drop them in the comments. I do have a couple of other videos on IEW, and I have some more that are coming out, so stay tuned.